Hi everybody, and welcome to another part of the JavaScript tutorials. In this part we're going to work on one of our projects in Arashtad, which uses JavaScript codes in order to create a to-do list. So here, as you can see, we've got a lot of buttons right over here. There are a lot of projects that we can do here using the Arashtad sci-fi UI elements. Here we're going to work on the to-do list project. So let me first show you what is a to-do list. So a to-do list here is a kind of form using which you can add some of the tasks and save it, and there will be a list of the to-do list added here. You can delete those items or add them right over here. So I'm going to show you how you can do this. As you can see, if you enter nothing here and click save, you will be seeing this warning message, no text entered. But if you enter a text, you will be able to save this to the to-do list and you will see it right over here. So for example, I can say writing the code and then save this. And once I save this, after just a few seconds, you will see that writing the code has been added right over here. So for example, the next part, for example, I can say testing the code and save this. You will see that it's been added here. You can also delete this by clicking on the trash button on the right. So here, if I click on this, you will be able to see that it will be removed. So as you can see, it's been removed and we have writing the code. So now let's get to the code and see how we can write such kind of a to-do list. So let me make the browser smaller and push it to the right, and also the code editor to the left. Now let's maximize the code editor first. So first of all, notice that we have git cloned one of our projects in Arashtad. It has a number of templates, CSS and SCSS, and there are all of those buttons right over here inside of the templates folder. I will give a link to the project's link in the GitHub so that you can download it and then work on it. So right over here, I've added some changes to the to-do list.html right over here and made it work so that you can add items or remove items. Notice that the raw code has some of the HTML codes, but it has got no JavaScript code. So we're gonna write the JavaScript codes in a way that we can add the items inside of our to-do list and also be able to remove them and see the warnings, the success message, and so on. So if you git clone the project from Arashtad, you will be able to see that all of the warning message and success message and error message will be shown on the top. Just let me show you right over here. As you can see here, we've only got the success, but we haven't got the warning or error message because we have successfully added the item right over here. But imagine that a warning happens, then it should show us the warning. But once you download the code, you will be able to see that all of the free warnings or all of the free messages are shown here with so many of the items which has only the description and nothing else. And you can also you cannot also delete one of these items. So here I can delete the item, but that kind of template which is raw, you cannot do that. So let us see how we can change this error for that to happen. Right over here inside of the code, I have made all of the changes so that we can do all of these kind of jobs all together inside of this project. Also, I will add the code that we have changed so that we can make this to-do list up and running, so that you can see the changes between the raw code and also be able to make those changes on the code and see what has happened. But here in this part of the tutorial, I will only explain what I have done inside of the code. So if I write all of the code line by line, it will take a lot of time and you might get bored only just saying what I'm doing instead of the code. But right over here, if you open up the raw code, you will be able to see that all of these HTML codes are right over here. Also notice that the to-do items, which is going to be here, you will see that there are about 8 or 10 items that have been added. I have removed all of them, but here, because here we're going to add each one of them one by one, so that you can see that item right over here. So as you can see, the to-do item has been added right over here. So I will explain line by line what's going to happen, because there's nothing fancy about this project, but there are some of the jobs you need to do. There are some of the functions that you need to learn how to add this to this project. Notice that we're working with the local storage right over here. We have no backend, so we will save all of the to-do list items and then show them on the DOM elements. So first of all, let us look at the HTML code and then see what has happened. So notice that we have imported all of these style sheets. So inside of this project, you will see that we have some style sheets here inside of the CSS folder and SCSS. So let me close this. And then we have the body tag here. So we have all of these elements. First of all, as you can see, the AR button, a small margin. So this is related to home, which is at the top of the page. If I switch to the browser, you'll be able to see that we have this home button here on the top. So this will redirect us to the main page, which is home. Let's get back to the to-do list right over here. So let me make this smaller and switch back to the editor. So right over here we have all these items related to the head tag and the p tag. This is a simple to-do list for example. To-do list is the head tag. These are all simple tags. So we have some div tags with some of the classes related to the front-end code. So I have Arashtad to-do list, and then let's get into the elements. So on our list we have right over here, and we've added an ID to this so that we can change it with DOM or add the elements ID to-do list item. So we use this in order to add items here, and we'll do this with the JavaScript code. This is one of the important parts which we're going to work on, the JavaScript. And also then we've got a number of other div tags right over here. We've got a form for adding the to-do items. Again, I've added an ID called to-do item. This is for adding the to-do item to the list. This is where you enter your to-do item to the form and then click save. This is on-click event for save, and instead of our JavaScript code, it will save the text to the local storage. And now, after closing all the tags, we will get into the JavaScript code. And by the way, there are some other front-end codes that do not really matter. All rights reserved in Arashtad.com. These are just the links to the website. So here, instead of our JavaScript code, we have the function has key. This is the function that we have used in our previous projects. And if you want to do how it works, so it gets the key from the local store, from the user, and checks whether this key exists inside of the local storage if we have any item with this kind of key. So if it has the item, it will return true, and if it does not have the item, it will return false. And then we have another function for storing the data to the local storage. So it will use the set item, and it will get the key and also the value. And we also have the get item in ls for querying the data from the local storage, which we use the get item property in order to get the value using the key given, and then it will return the item. And if there is no key there, it will return false. And then we've got the save function. Remember that here we use the onClick event for saving the form content to the to-do list, right? So once this save has been clicked, it will get the text using the get element by ID to do item. Remember, this is the ID of that specific tag inside of our form. It will get the value from the user, and if the text is empty, it will return a message, a warning message, right? So it will create this div tag with the class message warning and warning message, no text entered. This is that yellow line added there inside of our form, on top of our form, right? If you save anything right over here, you will see that warning message, no text entered. And we've simply done this using a very useful method by adding the backticks, right? You add the HTML code right over here, you save it inside of the message, and then you also set the item with the key message and store it inside of the message so that you can later show it on the page. So it will get the element by ID message, that inner HTML, and it will also set the message item inside of the message part of our local storage, and then it will also store the text, right? These two are important. Whether you get any data from the user, you will show the success message like this and store it, or if you get nothing from the user, you will only set the item, the message, and show this warning. So if you get any item that is not empty, you will show this message that is success. We only first of all store it inside the local storage. We do not show it right now, but here we will show the message right after getting out of the if, right? So right over here, we will set the item inside of the message, and also set the item in ls. Notice that here we've got the text. The text itself will be the name of the key and also the value of the key, because the messages could be in different forms and we do not know how many they are. We use the text for the text, which is this value that we get from the user, as not only the value but also the key as well. So here we will we also have the remove item. So this gets the value index, and it will remove the item from the local storage. Remember, we had this delete button on the right of each item. So for example, let me add an item, for example H, and we have this remove button here on the right. So this will remove the item. So we've got an event called remove, and then it will remove the item for us. So it should be somewhere right over here next to the button. Oh, it will be created. I will show you later, but here, as you can see, we have onClick remove item. I will then show you, and this is the index that has been entered. But for now, let's continue with our project. We also have the document.add event listener. This is the DOM element. This is for loading all of the DOM content and DOM elements, and it's an add event listener. So it will loop through the local storage, and it will check whether the local storage content is a message or not. If the key of that local storage is not a message, it will then be a key related to the items of the to-do list. So once that happened, it will get the item and then add the to-do list to the elements of the unordered list that we had right over here inside of the HTML code. It was somewhere around here. I will show you. Oh, there it is. And it will add the list, unordered list to this to-do list items. So it will add the li tag like this, a span, and then class warning, and then to-do item, right? So it will get the to-do item, and using backticks, it will add the to-do item inside of the HTML code. It will also add the remove on-click event for that item, so that if you want to delete that, it will return the I, which is the index of that to-do list, so that you can later remove this using the index of that item, and then it will be removed from the local storage. And once the page is loaded another time, you will not be able to see that item anymore. So, and then we will add the to-do HTML to the to-do list item list, right? To-do item list, which is an unordered list tag or UL tag, which is somewhere right over here. Okay, it's right over here with this ID. And then let's follow this. Also, we've got the message. It will get the item in ls with the message. So if there is a message instead of our local storage, it will define the message like this. And so at first it will show please enter a to-do list item if there is no message, and if there is a message, it will print that message and show it here instead of the elements which has the ID message, right? And it will show this to the user whether it's a success message or a warning message. So with that said, all of the parts of the JavaScript codes will work all together. So let's run the project one more time so that you can see how they work. So let me make this bigger. You can remove this, and the on-click remove will be activated. And then once you remove this and the page is reloaded, you will be able to see that we don't have that kind of item anymore. If you add nothing, you will see this warning message. Because the page is reloaded, you will be able to see this warning message on that DOM element. And if you add, for example, something like I don't know, keyword y, and then save this, you will be able to see that it's been added, and you can add another and another one and another one, as many as you want. And you can remove any one of them that you like, and it will remove that specific item with that specific index. So that's it for this part of the tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it. And until the next one, goodbye.